semester lectures. We are completing our work, and I think I should put my camera on for a little bit so that you see that you're talking to your lecturer, TP Governor, and you're not talking to a robot. I think that's why people like to switch the cameras on. So if I look at my assessment schedule, and Claudia reminded me for recording it. Thank you, Claudia. Claudia, you want to say hi to everyone so that you would be part of the recording?
Thank you, sir. Hi, everyone.
Great. So you are going to listen to the recording. Oh, great. Who was that? Was that Tina? You can put your video on as well. You know, I miss having to see all of you face to face, how you are, what you look like. I know some of you don't have your makeup on and you didn't go to the hairdresser. And I also didn't go to the hairdresser, but you know, I'm so lucky I don't need to do that. All right. So let's look at the assessment schedule. The assessment schedule for the purpose of the recording. And the assessment schedule, let me go to assessment schedule. Where is assessment schedule? Let's go to the home page. And I had it, and let's go to the classroom. Let's go to IT5. And let's go to the lecture plan from 16th of May. So for the purposes of recording, I've already done this with the rest of the students. But just to tell you, our assessment schedule spoke of the following assessments. And one was MATLAB, which you completed at the beginning of the semester. That seems like such a long time ago. We spoke about the website assessment, but that was just to get you into the groove of thinking like a business person, an entrepreneur. Then we spoke about the audit command language, which you have done. Applying filters, that's what I'm going to take. I'm not going to consider the basics because that's too easy. Applying filters is certification. So I'm looking at about 10% for MATLAB, 10% for ACL, depending whether I like it, the website, and I'm not going to give you any more weightings. Moodle test, you already wrote one. That is going to have a higher weighting than the ACL or the MATLAB. And today's Moodle at test for chapters 2 and 3, that would be at 6:15. And the final one, I was supposed to have, worked with this from the beginning, but I said you are working with Dr. Murli and Dr. Jolly in terms of research methodology, and I wanted you to get a little bit more into the groove of SAP ERP. So we've already done the S4HANA interface. And I was shocked that one of the students asked me for their password today, and that's worrying, right? But be that as it may, I'm going to give you an idea, and I'm going to give you an example of a journal article so that you can work in groups of minimum. I'm looking at about 5 in a group. And if you spread the work between the 5 of you, you can finish that and submit it to me on Monday, right? That's at the or latest end of the month. How's that? Either next week, Monday, or the end of the month. So I'm going to take you now to that aspect of writing a journal article. And, generally the students say, oh, sir, why are you giving me a journal article to write? And it's so difficult.
Sorry to
yes.
disturb. So are you going to put us in groups, or we need to group ourselves?
Okay, there's 2 advantages and disadvantages associated. One advantage is that if you select your own group members, that would help me. I don't have to do it. And also, your friends. Maybe you're living with someone in residence and you can work with them. So that will help.
I said that's a difficult one because most of us, or some of us, don't even know each other because we are working and we're all over. Like right now, I'm in another province, so I don't even know my classmates.
Listen, you can either, what I can do is I can create a little breakout room, and you can go and chat to the students. Or if you like, you can submit it on your own, but then it becomes a little bit more difficult because you have to do all the work by yourself, right? So Let me see how many participants there are. There are 29 in this room at this point in time. I can create a room with 5 students in there. You can exchange numbers. By the way, that's why I created the WhatsApp group, so that you get to know each other. You know where you're from, what you do, and I thought by now that you would at least make friends with your fellow students. And it's not as if I told you about this journal article now. I told you this a couple of weeks ago, right? I know on the 16th of May I mentioned it, and prior to that, I had also spoken to you. So I'd like it if you could work in a group. Now, one of the reasons we have group assessment is that when you are working in the real world, you're not working on your own. No man is an island, right? We work together, and we want to create this platform for you to work together. And like you said, you are in another province and I'm in KZN. So here's your opportunity to work together. You can create a small little WhatsApp group and talk about your journal article. Now, I'm making life so easy for you. I'm actually giving you the methodology that you're going to be using. And the methodology that I'm talking about is a meta-analysis. So if you click on the following link, I'm going to show you an example of a journal article, a paper that talks about meta-analysis, right? And Dr. Mudley or Dr. Charlie may or may not have used this, but I'm glad to include it for you so that it makes life easy. You don't have to do questionnaires. You don't have to go and do surveys. You don't have to go and visit someone in another province. All you do is sit in front of your computer and look for someone's mic is on and look for articles and use the following algorithm that I'm doing, right? Now, like I said, someone's mic is on. Here's some back feedback here. That who is that? Or is it me? Okay, I think it was me. No. Saying Ngobo, Ngobo, thank you for switching your mic off, right? Okay, so let me do that share again. So what I'd like you to do is in your group of, like I said, a minimum of 5, so that it makes your life easy. One will talk a little bit about meta-analysis in your discussion. Meta-analysis is a research process that systematically merges the findings of single independent studies. So you're going to look for maybe 5, 10, maybe 20, depends on your journal articles, and I'm going to show you how to do that. In fact, that was the very first orientation lesson that we did. And you're going to ask or create a research question. So I'll give you an example of a journal article where a research question was posed and how you go about working that. I'll even give you the title. So if I go now to an example, let me go to an example. I don't need that anymore. So let's go to the example. Right, so there's an example of a paper. So amongst the 5 of you, you can decide, I want to do the search for journal articles. Another one will say, I would like to work on the references. Another will say, I'd like to work on the methodology section. Another will say, I'd like to work on the research questions. Another will say, I'm going to put all of that together. So here's the question or the title of my article. Meta-analysis of studies on depression prevalence among diabetes in Africa. So you're not going to talk about diabetes and depression. All my students are happy. You are not unhappy, right? Hello, anyone's depressed out here? Anybody suffering from depression? Yes, no?
No.
No. You're all happy students, right? Okay. Even if you are, just park it for a little while until you sort out my last assessment. So I'm going to come up with the topic for you. The topic is meta-analysis of studies on ERP systems in South Africa. So there's one topic for a student. Another topic, meta-analysis of studies on threshold concepts on ERP systems in Africa or South Africa. Another topic. I hope you're taking this down. I'm making life so easy for you. Meta-analysis of threshold concepts in education in higher institutions in South Africa. I've given you 4 topics. I want the word meta-analysis in the topic. I want the word Africa or South Africa in the topic. I want the word higher institution or education or threshold concepts in the topic. So now that you know what I've asked you, I'd like you to go to Google Scholar. So you can go to Scholar and look for examples on meta-analysis. META. Oh, there we go. Meta-analysis of threshold concepts, ERP. And look at this. I've got 26,000 results. But you need to decide in your group of 5, right? Or 6. Okay, I'll allow 7 as well, right? Because maybe many hands make light work. You have to decide which ones you're going to consider important enough for your journal article, right? For instance, you may want to consider what is ERP, because that's going to be part of your journal article. You may want to consider meta-analysis of P300 aging studies. No, let's see. But guess what? They talk about ERP procedures in there. But at the same time, this is 1996. So that's going to be very old. We may not want to consider 1996. It's like 25, 26 years old, right? That's another thing when you're doing research. I don't want you to take old articles, right? So now that you know how to look, you can look in Google Scholar. You can also go to the DUT library website. So you go to library.dut.ac.za. By the way, this is what we did in the very first lecture. Dr. Modley must have done this. Dr. Jolly must have done this. Dr. Matuna must have done this. So I'm going to look for META. There we go. By the way, see, I did my prep the other day, so I was looking for this for you guys. So now I'd like you to keep a record of all the articles. You can zip that, and that's going to be part of your portfolio of evidence to say, hey, I went and searched and I looked for it, and I'm going to give you an assessment mark based on that, right? So you know how to look for articles and you know what to do. Now let me give you an example of I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. Close that. Let me just, I don't need that. Let's close that. We'll come back to that as well. No thanks, right? So there's my meta-analysis, my library. The library site is opening up. So I've given you 2 options. One, you can go to Google Scholar and look for meta. I've given you 4 topics. And I don't mind if you take one of those topics, if one of the groups take one of the topics. And the 5th topic, you can have it created, you can create your own topic or your title, right? Left that open to you. But I want the word meta-analysis in there, and I want the word education or ERP, because I want you to learn ERP concepts. I want you to become researchers. I hope one of you takes on, PhD studies or master's studies after this, and you'll be thinking about what I've done with you. For some odd reason, it's taking so long. Let it run in the background. Let's see if I open a previous version of that. Yes, no. Let me see. I keep all my articles ready and open so that I don't waste time. My network is pretty slow right now. Not sure why that is. I'm going to switch networks for a few seconds. I may just lose you. Okay, MTN is there, Vodacom is there, right?
Sorry, Dr. Kavenda.
Yes.
Just a quick one. Say, I just wanted to check what time are we gonna break so that we can start with the assessment. Remember, we have an assessment at 6.
10 past 6, about 10 past 6 or sooner. As soon as I give you the work, and if you don't have any questions, you may continue. I was supposed to give you the test first, but Donald gave me an email and said, you can't make it, and I should do this assessment first with you. Is that okay?
No, sir, you're saying it's 10 past 6, but we're supposed to start at 6, isn't it?
Well, let me just check what I put down on my Moodle. Oh, I put on 6:15.
Thanks, sir. Oh, meaning we're starting at 15:15.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, no problem. Thanks, sir.
Right, thank you. All right, let me continue. So I don't need that. I'm just trying to close up my. Let me go look for the journal article that I want you to. I don't need that. Do I need that? No. Right. So let me go to my lecture plan. That's why I like Wakelet. Maybe you'd like to use that in your discussion of your journal article. Right. So let's go to today's. So whenever I lose track of what I'm talking about, I go and look at my Wakelet page. So that keeps me in tune with what I need to talk to you about. So today I'm talking about meta-analysis. I already mentioned to you. So meta-analysis, in a few words, it basically means going on the internet, looking for articles that match your research question. So maybe your research question was, what the impact of ERPs systems in Southern Africa. Right, so let me see if I can find an article that deals with meta-analysis. So there's an article that talks to me about meta-analysis of artificial intelligence works in ubiquitous learning environments and technologies. So one of you in the group will decide and say, hey, I'm not going to have the word, I'm not artificial intelligence, which I don't want. I want you to now put down meta-analysis of ERP concepts in learning environments in institutions of higher learning in Southern Africa. There's a new title. Or maybe you decide and talk about meta-analysis of SAP S/4HANA in learning environments in South Africa. So I've given you 2 more titles, that's 6 already. So here's my abstract. An abstract basically tells you in a nutshell, in a summary, what the entire article is about. So if you have 7 people in your group, 1 student is going to write the abstract. The next student will talk about an introduction. You're going to introduce your topic, what it is. And that you'll find from the articles that you will source from Google Scholar or from Scopus or from Web of Science. So I'll give you 3 options to go and look at it. Now, I don't want it as in-depth as what you see in front of you, right? Because like I said, we were talking about this from the 16th of May. And if I know students, I don't think any of you would have done any work. Some of you asked me for a password for SAP S/4HANA today, so you didn't do any, you didn't even log in. So amongst the 7 of you, 1 is going to work on the introduction. 1 is going to write about each article that you found. So let's say, for instance, you found 5 or 6 articles on meta-analysis. Then you're going to start talking about in the study of Governor and Governor. You go on and in a nutshell describe what that article is about. When I say nutshell, I should not use that summarized version. The next person is going to talk about the way in which it was conducted. So if I look at this article, they have all the articles listed. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the author of the article, there's the year it was published, and here's the title of the article. Remember, I asked you to go and look at Google Scholar or to look at Web of Science or EBSCOhost or any other journal, online journal. That's where you'll put down the title. So you can take this table. In fact, I'll keep that. I'll copy this table for you. I'm going to show it to you. I did this last night. Here's the table.
Sir?
Yes.
So I can't see your screen anymore on my
Oh,
side.
no, I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, telling me. What about the rest of you? I was just talking to myself. Oh, no.
No, we were able to see on this side.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. So here's the table. So I'm going to take out all of this, right? I'll post this table as well for you, so to make your life easy. Can you see how easy I'm making your life? Huh? Right, so there's the table. You're going to say, what did you find in there? So if I found this article, let me go and look for the article. Where did I find this article? I found this article on Scholar. Did I find an article there? No, no articles there. Did I find an article here? No, that's not what I wanted. No, that's not what I wanted. No, that's not what I wanted. No. Oh my goodness, I was working a hell of a lot today. And I don't need that. No, I don't need that. Oh, no, I already showed you this article. Okay, let's just say for instance, I found this article. So I'm going to copy this title, Control C. I'm going to put this article in my table, Control V. There's the article, and I can put down, how many searches did I find on meta-analysis, right? And you can decide what it is, where and how your search strategy is going to work for you. Now that you have this part, right? Oh, by the way, you have to put your name on the article, right? So this is my head of department, Dr. Naika, Dr. Rajkumar, and this is our student, Caitlin Sam. And now that you have that, put on, you complete that table. You talked about PRISMA. PRISMA stands for Preferred Reporting Items for Systematic Reviews and Meta-Analysis. And again, I'm going to show you how easy it is. I'm going to take you to the PRISMA site. You can consider all of this. The person who's doing this part, copy and paste, because this is how you are going to do your study. So you're basically telling them that you're using this methodology of review. You can use this as well. And like I said, because these are my colleagues, Dr. Naik and Dr. Rajkumar, it shouldn't be a problem in terms of going and getting ethical clearance and permission and all that is, right? Again, we're using it for our purposes. When you talk about how you run the search, can you see I spoke to you about Google Scholar, IEEE, Science Direct, and there's all the articles out here. Now you must tell me, what did you use to include in your search? Remember, I spoke about meta-analysis of ERP concepts in learning environments in higher institutions in Southern Africa. So all the terms that you used in your search as a criteria, you mention it over here. And use this as an example. So if Tina was going to do the section on inclusion criteria, she's going to take the words as the focus of the study was on scientific methods in, you won't say you learning studies, you're going to say in ERP studies or in S4HANA or in SAP, right? And the following words were used. You're not going to say intelligent systems. You're going to say SAP. You're not going to say intelligent decision support systems. You're going to say ERP. You're not going to say machine learning. You're going to say ERP, SAP, threshold concepts, right? You're not going to say education data mining. You're going to say meta-analysis. And that section is done. Then you're going to talk a little bit more about what you are excluding. Now, let's decide and say, listen, I don't want articles that are, pre-2015. Maybe you did a search and you found that there were too many articles. I did a search just now and I found out that there's 20,000 articles. So I don't want from 2015. You will now decide and say, hey, I am going to take articles from 2020 to 2021, 2022. But if I do that, I'm not going to get enough articles that will suit my criteria. Now, I'm not sure if you'd come to this stage of statistical analysis. If and do some of you, I'll be happy for that. But I'd like you to create this table, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create this table. Whoever's going to be doing this, like I said, there's about 6 or 7 of you in the group. You go to the following website. You go to the following website. I'm going to I'll keep all these websites available for you so that right, so there's the website here. That's one website. All of this is on the web page. And let me go to my web page. Here's my web page. Give me a second. I'm just looking for all of this. All it means is putting it into the flow diagram so that it generates the diagram for you. Right? Is it here? Right, you can download the diagram from here and you can enter it in, right? So let me rather take what I've done last night, right? Last night I worked on it and I said, here's my article. Nope, that's not it. Okay, so here's my article. Here's my little flow chart that I have, right? And I've created for you. And all you got to do is in the flow diagram, you include the number of articles that you selected. You included what was your exclusion criteria? What was your inclusion criteria? You put all of that together. Sorry, class, I can't find that. It doesn't open up so quickly. There's it open up on that side. It's in Word. Yeah, here we go. There's my flow diagram. So all you got to put down, how many records did you search? So you put down a numerical value out here. How many additional records that you identified? What were some of the duplicate records that you found and you are excluding? What were some of the full text? And you will look on the left-hand side, they have all these criteria included, eligibility, screening, identification. And whoever's working on this part of it will need to have a little narrative on what and how they have selected in the process of doing this flow diagram. All right, so I'm going to include this flow diagram as well in your notes. I'll include this entire folder. Now, let me continue with the article. Let me go back to the article. I'm going to include this article as well. So you will need to read the article on meta-analysis for you to get an idea of what methodology you are using to write your article. And I'll be so happy if somebody goes all the way and work it such that we can go and, hopefully submit this to a journal. Now we're starting it off. We call it in phases, and I'm hopefully by next week or the end of the month, you're going to give me a first draft as such. And depending on how much of effort you've put into this article on meta-analysis, we will use it as a stepping stone or a stepping board over to next semester. Just like what we started with S4HANA, we will continue with S4HANA in semester 2. We're going to do the HR component, the accounting component. We're going to do procurement, sales, inventory control. All that continues into next semester. In semester 1, you'll notice I only did 3 chapters, chapter 1, 2, 3. We did some work on business processes. We did some work on SAP S4HANA. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you some good news as well. I'm going to present our learning experiences on S4HANA in the SAP University Alliances. I'm so thrilled and happy about that, right? And thanks to you guys as well for doing that, or being my students. And I'm going to promise I'll include and acknowledge all of you as well. Right, so let me pause for a few questions. Anybody with a question for me? You find you don't know what to do, it's difficult, or it's easy, or sir, maybe not consider it 30%, which I'm worried that it's going to be 30%. Maybe I'll put down 25 or 20%. However, I believe that we must reach for the sky, even if we only attain the treetops. I don't know if you saw my WhatsApp status. I had my WhatsApp status that said, just looking at it, oh, I took it out. It went away. Was it more than 24 hours? Where's my WhatsApp status? Oh, it's gone. Right, but let me just share with you what was my WhatsApp status. My WhatsApp status says, students will rise to the level of a teacher's expectations. I want you to rise to my expectations. My expectations is that my students will get to grips with the concept of meta-analysis. My students will be able to write a mini abstract. My students will be able to search the internet on journal articles for SAP and ERP and S4HANA concepts or threshold concepts. And you're going to learn what is a threshold concepts. And all you got to do is write up 5 to 6 page article, not a 12, 13, 14 pages. No. I want something similar to what you see in front of you. 6 pages. A little introduction, some terminology. Whoever's going to do the Prisma, talk about that. How you'll get to the statement. How you will basically work and do it. The methodology. And one will do this flow diagram. One will do a discussion of the journal articles that they found on Google Scholar or Web of Science or EBSCOhost. One will include a checklist. Do you have a title? Do you have an abstract? Do you have a little rationale? Why did you go and select the topic that you took? Right? And here's a checklist for you too. And this is the rubric that I will use to assess the project. And it's very, very subjective, I know. However, the Moodle tests that you do are totally objective. There's either a right answer or a wrong answer, right? So that you don't have to worry about. But in this article, it may be subjective and it's group work so that it gives you a chance to boost your mark. Sometimes group work can be advantageous in that you can benefit from the expertise of other students in the group. All right, so let me go back to, all right, so let's go back to my, I shared this with all of you. This is the article in my Dropbox folder. By the way, I know when I share it on Dropbox, for some odd reason, some of the students request permission, and yet I just open it out to everyone. That's weird. So if you click on this link, you're going to find the article that I just did. Oh, why is it moving around? There's the other article that I spoke about. These are examples for you to work with. This is the review article, the PDF document that I worked with. And again, don't go and complain and say, oh, it's so difficult, it's so tough. You know, I believe that diamonds are made under pressure, and I feel that you would be able to provide me with a draft at the very least. Right, so here's the, you can go and read up on a systematic review, how you'll develop it, why you'll do a systematic review. So I spoke to you about this. There's a number of studies that you will look at. How would you go about doing a systematic review? You look for case studies, you look for, but this is more in the health industry, right? Like nursing. So we're not going to look at that so much, but this gives you an idea of what we will in the IT field would like to do. Why would you want to do it? Go ahead and read up on that. What are some of the systematic reviews? I've already told you the systematic review that we are doing and how we're going to mention that. Read up about the evolution, that's fine. What are some of the characteristics? All I want you to do is extract data from other people's work. And I've given you an example, and hopefully my colleagues, Dr. Naik and Dr. Rajkumar and Dr. Sam won't mind, right? How do you do it? Think of your question, my question that I pose if I was talking about meta-analysis. What are some of the threshold concepts in SAP, in teaching or learning SAP S/4HANA, right? What are some of the case studies? I gave you some examples. Put down the limitations. So again, my limitations could be that I'm only using DUT or Universities of Technologies, right? Maybe it's limited in that it's only institutions in KZN, of institutions of higher learning. There's a checklist. This will help you with your article as well. Look at the checklist to see whether you are covering all aspects of your methodology. So for instance, do you have a title in your article? Is the title identifying what you're talking about? Like for instance, my title said meta-analysis of threshold concepts in education, or meta-analysis of ubiquitous learning environments in ERP systems, S/4HANA, right? Abstract, do you have a structure in terms of, are you giving a background to your study? For instance, you already know that, or why are we using ERP systems, right? You would have read up on chapter 2 and chapter 3. What's the background to that? I already gave you the methodology that you are going to be using, Prisma, right? And you can talk about that as well. What's the rationale? What is the purpose of this article? What do you want to know? So for instance, my rationale may be when I'm teaching ERP concepts to students, or if I'm in a business environment, what do they need to know? For instance, if you are talking about the accounting module in ERP systems, they need to know what is debit and credit. So that would be a rationale, you know, or a background thing. So an objective, what do you want to achieve in this, right? So when I was a school teacher, we spoke about at the end of the lesson, this is what I need to do. So in this paper, what do you need to know? Some of the criteria, what year did you consider your articles? What were you looking at? And I'm just going to go quickly to Google Scholar and show you how to do that search, where you can restrict the year. And if I look at Google Scholar and I'm looking for ERP, Right? Let's say, for instance, there we go. And you see it says custom range. I want to take all articles from, and don't go too far back, right? 2019 to 2022. So that criteria that you would have used, right? And I found, 15,800. So maybe you'd like to narrow your search down. And in narrowing your search down, you're going to say threshold concepts in ERP S4 HANA, right? Because that's what we used, right? Hey, can you see Cambridge 144? Wow, that makes better. And let's make it even further. Let's say in South Africa. Whoever is doing this one, yeah, I'm doing the topic, I'm doing the work for you. Oh, that's a lot. That 800 went up now, 856. Oh, still South Africa bound. Ah, there we go, 28. Now this comes a little bit, easier to work with. All right, what do you think about that? Who's working on this topic? See, I put you on the spot now. I helped you with this. So there's your 28 results. And here you can put down in terms of your table. You fill your table with all of this, right? And can you see how new this is? In 2019, 2020, you only picked up 28 results. There we go. So there's your criteria. Whoever's doing this one here, control C, I'm copying that. I'm putting that down as a criteria. So where's my table? There's my table out here. So there's my search criteria. So I'm going to say I searched for threshold concepts and I found 28 of them. And my results were from 2018 to 2022. Oh, I didn't use EBSCOhost. I used Google Scholar. All right. Yay, I've done that for someone. Who's working on this? Oh, Africa is capital letter, please, right? Don't mind. Right. And guess what I'm going to do when I'm marking the work? I'm going to look and say, hey, has the student actually done that? All I got to do is copy that, paste it, and see if it is. So don't try and crook it to say, oh my, I got 28 results. Okay. That was a joke. I know you're not going to do that. All right, I'm looking at my time. I want to give you a little bit of a breather as well. It's 5 to 6. Right, so there's the article. There's the reviews. There's another one that you can go through. No, man, I did this. This one I've done with you. Right, I've done this with you. Yes, I did this with you. Go and read up on that. And this link, let's see, why did I include this link with you? This is another article. Oh, meta-analysis. I spoke to you about this article. By the way, Professor Alubara is the Dean and the Faculty of Accounting and Informatics. Professor Sibusiso Moyo is the DBC RIE, and Dr. Israel is a staff member within our faculty, right? So I know they won't mind if we are using the articles to, to write our own article. But we're not talking about diabetes and depression and all that goes with it, right? You can work with our SAP S4HANA ERP. Okay, do I have any questions? So, one more before, sorry, you must have an introduction. You must have a study design, how you went about looking on your search, the literature search, whether you use Prisma, which you all must use. You all must use that. You must use Web of Science. You must use Scopus. PubMed, don't use PubMed, that's for medical kind of things, right? You must have your inclusion criteria. For instance, whoever's doing the one I did from 2018 to 2022. What's your exclusion criteria? I'm going to, in fact, you have to copy this, take this down as is. You are excluding books, book chapters, editors, letters to the editors, or theses. Oh, maybe you want to include a thesis because I found that some thesis with stuff in there, right? There's the flow diagram. Right, there's the flow diagram. You must have that. You must have that. Let's put down some results, talk a little bit about it. Now, I don't expect you to just do 623 studies were identified. Maybe you can say 28, whoever was doing that, and how many articles you are selecting, which were the duplicates, what were the publication characteristics. You can talk about that, whether it was from South Africa, whether it was from Uganda. Let's go to South Africa. Maybe you want to do provinces, right? The region. Try and work the statistics out. I'm not sure if you can get to this stage. Try, right? Try to see it. And yeah, and include your references. Oh, before your references, you need a conclusion. Put on a declaration, you know, who were the people in your group. For instance, you can say experiment, or Tina or Claudia was the one who came up with the conceptual design. And let's talk about that. I realized I wasn't charging my laptop. Okay, it should be charging now.
Sir, are you still there?
Seems as if we've lost him.
So I'm sorry, I'm back again. Sorry about that. Hello.
No problem. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that. My network, I think I've got like 3 data packages. For some odd reason, that one data package must have finished, right? So I switched over to another one. All right, so let me go back to my shared screen. I'm not sure whether I lost you at this point where I was talking about an example of a paper that I want you to use. Anybody? I was talking about this paper and I lost you at this point. Hello? Tina? Claudia?
Hi, sir. Yes.
Sandy?
Yes,
We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Was it at this paper? Okay.
Yes, you were
okay.
talking about the
So
paper, sir.
you use, yes. So you use this paper as an example. Can you see it's only 9 pages, right? The paper is only 9 pages. And Professor Olugbara is my dean and he's my co-author with my paper. So I'm sure he won't mind. And he loves for students to do research and he loves to promote research, right? And Dr. Israel is a colleague and friend of mine in the department. So they won't mind me using their papers as templates. So in your paper, you must have a little abstract, a little introduction, include all your names, right? And all of you are from Durban University of Technology. And I'm not sure if you remember me teaching you about latex. A couple of weeks ago, I did that with you in Monday night in one of the lectures. So if you like, you can use LaTeX, or you can simply use Microsoft Word, right, for you to do this. And finally, I'd like you to have references. If you want to talk about 9 pages, 1 page will be full of references. And again, between you and me, I don't mind if you include the references that you just looked at. I just want you to get a feel for writing. And hopefully this will be your beginning of the research process, right? And hopefully you get it published. I was so happy. I was looking at my profile and I was looking at all my research articles. If you don't mind, I can show off a little bit. I'm just going to, I wanted to show you this. So let me go and look for me. Where's my, oh, there's my profile, right? So there's my profile. Can you see that? I've got an article in 2014. I've got another one in 2016. I've got one in 2022. There's Professor Alubara's name, right? In the Journal of Economics and Business Law. Oh, I think you would figure out why I'm talking about threshold concepts now. Can you see? Reflection on threshold concepts for developing computer program skills of first-year information technology students. Ha ha ha. Hello? Hello?
Yes, we hear, sir.
Yeah.
Yes,
Can
we hear.
you see why I'm talking about this, right? There's another
Yes, sir.
article we wrote, Applying Constructivism Theory in Online and Cooperative Techniques, right, for teaching object-oriented programming. Can you see I have a lot to do with programming, teaching, and yeah, I'm only into education. Huh? I need to branch out. Okay, so I would like you to have something like this as well, right? Prof. Alubara has much more. He's like my mentor. I want to become like and write lots and lots of articles, and you and I will do that together, right? Okay, I'm looking at my time. It's 6 o'clock. I want to give you a 5-minute breather before you start the assessment. Right. Any questions? Anybody with a question out here? Let's stop the share. All right, I'm trying to make your life as easy as possible to pass this course and to give you a course mark. I know we are working remotely. I try to do as many varied assessments as possible. By next week, in fact, tomorrow I'll have your marks. Tomorrow or Wednesday, I'll post your marks and I'll put in some weightings to see what I can get for you as a course mark. I'll take the higher average. Oh, I shouldn't be recording all of this, but it's my discretion. And at the end of the month, when you submit the article to me, I just want one leader, one group member, please, to email it to me. And I promise you, I'll be very, very lenient because this is just our first draft. It took me about 6 months to write one article with Prof. Alubara, but that too because he was busy and all that goes with it.
So, sorry, sir. In terms of the group, how many do you want us to be, or we can just choose?
You can choose, or I know this all comes up. You want to do it by yourself, do it by yourself.
Yeah, we can do it by ourselves. It's fine.
But that it'll be a lot of work. It'll take you a lot of time, I feel, to do it on your own. But if you want to, go ahead, right? 5, 6 people in a group, because there's 6 sections. There's one section called the abstract. There's one section called the introduction. There's one section on the Prisma table. There's another section on the Prisma flowchart, and then another one with the references, and the last one with conclusion. Not that you need another person just to do the conclusion, but right. And I also want you all to learn to work together, right? I should have started this off earlier. By the way, that's what I thought the WhatsApp group was. We all get together on WhatsApp, we talk, we chat. Some of you private messaged me, and Tina sent us some lovely links to the conferences. Thank you, Tina. I attended the whole conference. I loved it. Right, I enjoyed it. Okay. I'm going to stop there now. You've got 10 minutes. It's now 8 minutes past 6. So I'd like you to go to Think Learn Zone, TLZ. I'll give you the password. And right, so there's the, you basically need 10-15 minutes max, right? And I'm not saying guess, but I should make a calculated guess, intelligent guess. And if you don't do well, I promise I'll give you another makeup test. But try not to cheat, please. I know it's hard. You are out there. I'm not watching you and all of that. We don't have proctoring software. Okay, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm just going to give you the password. The password is
Sorry, say password for
the test.
the ones that we're about to write now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Let me tell you what I did. Why I did put a password in. The one I was setting was for a makeup, and then I didn't realize. I didn't set a password. The password is IT5A. Okay, all capital letters. Okay. Right. Let's start.
Can you push that again?
IT5A, capital letters. Right. Okay, can I say goodbye to you? I will be available on WhatsApp, or I'll keep my MS Teams open just in case any of you need me.
Sir,
that
after
okay?
this, we are not coming back to the class, right?
No. That's what Donald had asked for. He said he wants this the test. He wanted to start the test later. He didn't want to start it at 5:15. I wanted to start the test at 5:15 to about 5:30, 6:45, and then I'll do this. But Donald sent me an email. Donald, just write that down in the chat that you were the one who asked me to do that.
Sir, can you please repeat the password?
IT5A. I'll write it in the chat. Okay. The reason I did that is because I forgot the other test I set. I forgot to put a password, and it was open for a couple of days before I. IT5A. All right. There's the password, IT5A. Okay.
Okay, sir. But
Right.
it seems as if there are two activities here. Zambike quiz for.
No. Don't do the Zambike one. Use the chapter 1, 2, 3. The Zambike, I'll consider that to be. I won't talk about that right now. Right.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I just left it open. I forgot to put a password, and it was open, and boom, bang. Some people already opened it, and I should not have done that. That was the exercise on Zambikes. I wanted you all to watch the Zambikes movie and to answer questions on that, right? So sorry about that. Okay, can we call it a night? You've got 5 minutes, right?
Yes, sir. Good night.
Okay, good night. I'll still keep this open just in case anybody needs me, right?
Short.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, all the best. Good luck to you. And the journal article aspect is due next week, okay, or end of the month.
Yes, sir.
Bye, sir.